This is so cool. Thank you for teaching me that not only is it okay to feel good, it's really my primary work. This is really, really life-changing for me.
Isn't it nice that it's the way your guidance system has been established? And wouldn't it be screwy if it was set up the way so many humans think it is, that the worse it feels, the better it is for you, and the better it feels, the worse it is for you? Where do you get this stuff? We'll tell you, from others who need to control your condition so that they can feel better. In other words, that's almost, people say, don't be selfish, meaning don't follow your own guidance, follow mine. Do the things that make me feel better. That's the only possible way that you could have ever gotten so backwards of your own guidance system. When you see something that feels good to you, you say, I want more of that. I would vote for that. When you see something that feels bad, you say, no, no, I do not want that. Forgetting that it's only inclusion in this attraction-based universe. So when you say yes to it, you get it. When you say no to it, you get it. In other words, whatever you give your attention to, you get. But many people do not understand that there is this vibrational essence that is the point of attraction. They are just judging on manifestations. And so, do you know there are whole segments of your population, big segments of your population, that offer almost all of their vibration in response to what they are observing? So they observe a good pile and they say, yes, more good piles. They observe a bad pile of whatever and they say, no, we don't want any more of that. And then they set out, bless their hearts, on the impossible task of now trying to control the conditions and get them all into the good pile so that they can then observe the good pile and then feel good. And then all kinds of trouble starts, because then they start arguing over whose pile it is, and they start arguing over what should be in the pile. They start arguing over what should be allowed and what should be disallowed, instead of allowing themselves to be free and allowing all others to be free. In other words, there's enough space in this time-space reality for everyone to create everything that they want. You are not in competition with anyone, you see. So when you finally get what unconditional love is, unconditional alignment, it's not needing conditions to shift, not needing manifestations to change. I can take an emotional journey and I can do it easily. And when I do, I've adjusted my point of attraction, and whatever I want, no matter what it is, comes to me.
So I have two quick why questions and then some reassurance. Why is it that I feel so much better when I am with someone of like mind? I tend to dance to my own drummer, and then I start to feel a little defective about that. Like, why don't more people believe like me? And that's not even the real why question, but why does it bother me so much? I need that affirmation from others that, yes, it's okay to believe this.
It's for this reason. When you're around others who want to feel good, and everyone does, there isn't anything that anybody has ever wanted, whether it's a material object or a relationship or a state of being. There's nothing that anybody has ever wanted that was for any other reason that they thought that in the getting of it they would feel better. So as you are introduced to people around you who all want to feel good, and you offer a behavior that causes them to give you feedback that what you did made them feel good, as they were feeling good and holding you as their object of attention, that felt good to you. And so little by little, you and almost everybody else you know started really caring about what other people think and how other people feel, even more than about your own guidance system. In other words, that's how you sort of get off kilter. And which it's not a big problem if there is just one person you're trying to please, because you can usually contour your behavior enough to keep one person happy. But if there are 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 of them, then it gets a little uncomfortable. So then what happens is you discover that if those who are around you are feeling good, then it's easier for you to feel good. We think that's the train of thought that sort of gets you there. We're wanting you to take a little bigger leap, and not so big that you can't make it, but a little bigger leap in just showing yourself that no matter what anybody else is feeling, you can bring yourself to feeling good. And when you show yourself that, then, and really only then, are you finally free. Because What freedom really is about is the release from resistance. And the only way that you can ever really release resistance is to show yourself that you can control your thoughts, that you can bring yourself into vibrational alignment with allowing who you really are. And when you allow who you really are, then they all don't bother you so much. A lot of people have said to us over time, Abraham, it has been so joyful for me to rediscover all of this. I feel like I'm coming home. I'm remembering things that I must surely have known before because it feels so natural to me. And then they will say, but those people at work are so negative. And what they mean is, I'm afraid that if I go back to where they are, that I will get sucked back into that place that didn't feel so good. And we say, they can't suck you back. Not now you know what you know. If you are an observer of conditions, then you could be upside down and all around. In other words, you could be like the cork bobbing on the raging sea. You might feel good and you might feel bad, just depending upon what's in front of you. But law of attraction really doesn't allow you to bounce back and forth in those frequencies. Once you have practiced the rhythm of alignment, it's unlikely that you will lose that connection in any devastating way. And so what if something happens that causes you to focus upon something that causes you to disallow the energy of who you know what to do? So what if something makes you mad? You won't always be mad. You know that there will be things to laugh about again. So what if something happens that makes you temporarily feel discomfort? It's no big thing. Not now you know what to do, you see. You can't ever be lost again. You now know that following what feels good is what will lead you to what is good. And as you watch, this is the best part of our answer to your wonderful question. There's not a shred of evidence to the contrary anywhere in the universe. Nowhere in the universe is there a shred of evidence to the contrary. In other words, you look at anyone who is living anything, and it is always a vibrational match. Now, you can't always tell with them because they might be smiling when they don't feel happy, and they might be saying positive sounding things when they don't feel positive. So if you're judging from a distance, you might have a little confusion about it. But if you're up close to somebody, or better still, if you're watching your own experience, what you're thinking and what you're feeling and what you're getting is always a match. And the better you feel, the better it gets. And the worse you feel, the worse it gets. And it's just that way. And so by trial and error, you just drum yourself into a better and better feeling place. And once you move just a little bit, once you move from despair to anger, and you acknowledge, I do feel better, you're home free. Because once you show yourself that you can move from there to there, now you know you can move from here to here, or here to here, or anywhere to anywhere. You just don't try to do it all at once.
When I'm not strong enough to be conscious of that process, because I believe it in my head, I can't always apply it when I'm in a negative space, is it okay to isolate? Because sometimes I feel like I will absorb those energies.
Actually, it's better. You won't absorb them. Esther doesn't even like to go into some bookstores sometimes because there's so much different stuff going on in there that if she goes in and is not specifically looking for something, it's sort of an unsettling experience until she gets focused. In other words, as you move through environments, there are vibrations all around you, and some of you are very sensitive to vibration. But we really are not encouraging stepping away from vibration in order to regain your balance. We'd rather that you understand that you can achieve your balance anywhere, and then the law of attraction will accommodate you. In other words, certainly do what feels best to you, but there is a difference between saying, when I go here, I don't feel as good, therefore I'm going to stay away from people altogether, and in my hermitage I will be very clear about the vibration that I'm offering. You're a co-creator. You want to co-create. Just trust that law of attraction is sorting it out, and also trust that nobody can come into your vibrational sphere that's not a vibrational match to who you are. And so sometimes when they get there, that's how you figure out what you're doing with your vibration. They're bringing a gift to you. In other words, if a whole bunch of ornery people are showing up in your experience, you might want to take note that you might be ornery. Yeah. In other words, otherwise they wouldn't be there all the time. And sometimes it's harder to see it in yourself, but you can see it in others, you see. Yes.
Why is it that being introduced to Abraham processes, well, I'm so happy they work for me, but I understand other things that did not work for me, such as Alcoholics Anonymous and the Christian faith. I tried both of those so hard and they didn't work for me, and I still take what I can use and leave the rest with those. I haven't totally thrown out the baby with the bathwater, but why is that? Why is it that when I practice Abraham principles, that other stuff makes sense to me? And before, no matter how hard I tried, was it just law of attraction and I couldn't attract the goodness in there?
It's because here's the easiest way to say this. As Esther is allowing us to speak to you through her, she's not hearing words that we are whispering in her ear and then repeating them to you. She's receiving a block of thought, and at an unconscious level, she's finding the word equivalent. So over time, and Esther did not have a metaphysical background at all. She did not have a religious background at all. Esther had managed to hold herself in a place of not giving too much attention to anything. She was just sort of living happily ever after, not deeply involved in any direction of thought, which made it easier for her to quiet her mind and begin to be a translator of that which we were offering. The process, as it began to evolve, was the process of us throwing out a conceptual idea and Esther finding words that matched it. And so in essence, together, we were building a language that was not full of vibration. In other words, when somebody starts talking about God, all that does is activate within you what you already think about that, and that's as far as the discussion goes. So when you discovered what we are calling the art of allowing, or sometimes the science of deliberate creation, this Abraham work, when you came across it, it was like the beginning of a basis of understanding for you that took you back to the depths of your own guidance system. And once you reconnect with your own guidance system, then you can retrace your steps through anything and you can make sense of everything. Esther has said that too, that now as she reads or hears people talking about even the Seth material, which was hard for her to understand, now it makes perfect sense to her in light of her Abraham basis now. She also has said that many religions that she had heard bits and pieces about that didn't make sense to her, now as she listens through Abraham's ears, so to speak, now she can understand the value in all things. In other words, there is no place in the universe, and certainly no place in your physical environment, that doesn't hold tremendous value for you. And that brings us back around. We love how your questions dovetail together. Why we don't want you to feel like you need to be a hermit. In other words, nobody's going to sweep you back into that. You know too much. You've rediscovered your basis, and now knowing that basis, you can explore anywhere you want to go, and you will never lose your center again, you see. And think about those who haven't found their center. Aren't they the ones that are frightened? Aren't they the ones that are always trying to get you to come and agree with them so that they'll feel better? In other words, that's why so many people seem to need so many masses around them, because they still are insecure. It wouldn't matter if millions of people joined them in chanting the same chant. From a place of insecurity, they are still attracting more insecurity. You gather together in your groups from insecurity, not from your place of security. You see, once you align with who you are, you feel powerful. And that's why we talk about all of your emotions go between this range of empowerment and disempowerment, from knowing who you are to having not a clue who you are. That's why emotions like fear feel empty, because you're not full of yourself in the way that you are when you are feeling passion or joy or appreciation or love. That's full of you. That's who you are. That's when you are allowing who you really are to flow who you are through you in that moment. That's when you are really in alignment with who you are.